everyone and welcome to the next discussion, which is on digital image processing software. And in this lecture we will be seeing different softwares and workings of some of them, and there are some commercial softwares and there are some public domain as well, to improve our understanding about digital image processing. Basically, digital image processing, as I have just mentioned, there are two types. One is the public domain or open source, generally available through internet, and sometimes you may get a very good software in open source without paying any money. However, sometimes you don't get the support, or most of the time through these open source software you don't get the support. But there are discussion groups and others who may provide support, or some digest and some web pages which may provide support against these softwares. Nonetheless, they are free, and if one would like to develop further, you can improve on that one also. And of course, then a next option, which is expensive sometimes, is the commercial option, that we go for commercial software. However, as written in the bottom of this slide, that do not use pirated softwares, because that is basically not ethical, and also is destroy the software industry, which India has benefited maximum because of software development world over. So this is completely unethical to use pirated softwares. If one would like to use, doesn't have the resources, financial resources, the best thing is to use open source softwares. What are the advantages? In brief, we will be seeing about the public domain or open source software. Though they are easily available on net, generally open source, and therefore modifiable. One can, if one knows the programming, and one can modify. There are sometimes extensions or tools, software tools are also available, which one can incorporate. So that is another. Of course, free. And for examples, one software which I like most, though it is just for learning, is a kind of tutorial software for digital image processing system, that is DIPS. Very good software for learning. There are some other open source softwares like Beam open source toolbox, a Spring software developed by INPE, and then set of functions of MATLAB. Again, but MATLAB is commercial, so one has to remember, but these functions of MATLAB and routines and extensions might be available, which might be free. So this is non-exhaustive list. There can be many more public domain or free digital image processing softwares are there. Sometimes you may get a simple photo editing software like Photoshop or Photostyler or Irfan View or others. These can also be used for simple image enhancement or that kind of processing you can use, but these softwares cannot be used seriously for, especially I am talking about georeferencing. So that is not possible with these photo editing softwares, but image enhancement part definitely you can do using these softwares. And then what we see, that what are the disadvantages with these public domain softwares or open source software. Generally no support is available, as I also discussed previously, and that you may get some support, but not like in case of commercial software. You can ask the company or fellows their helplines, and you get full support. And continuity, new versions may be a problem in public domain softwares, that may be. Now I take that example of public domain software, that is DIPS. It is available, and this is very good software, which is basically digital image processing simulator, and just a small, very small software. It tells you how the processing is done. So processing remains transparent, and because the pixel values are shown, not the gray values or color values are shown. And therefore, whatever the changes which are happening in terms of pixel values during your processing is seen through this. That is why the last word or term is used as simulator. So, this simulates how image processing is done, and this can be downloaded free of cost. Link is provided here, or you search net just with the DIPS. Very good for learning for beginners. Those who would like to enter in digital image processing, would like to understand the complete concept of digital image processing, then this software is very good. As I have mentioned, that excellent software to learn various fundamentals of digital image processing easily. And there are if you type like in Google or Bing the list free photo editing software, there are various softwares are available, like 10 best free editing photo editing softwares are there, but they lacks in georeferencing, also classification and some advanced level of object recognition and that kind of classification. So, but for simple image enhancement, still these softwares can be used. So, many of these are free photo editing softwares are also good, and lot of digital image processing tasks can be performed with ease. If because everyone cannot afford and spend lakhs of rupees for commercial software, so initially one can start with these software. There is another source which is imageprocessingplace.com, where one can get functions like MATLAB functions are there, software available on web, all kinds of details are, or commercial softwares for image processing toolbox. Is there one thing which I want to add? If somebody is like interested in SAR interferometry, especially using the this Sentinel data, then on the ESA web page, European Space Agency site, you may get this software tool for insert or a snap. It is called a snap. So that is again in public domain, open source. You can just download and download the data as well, interferometry data, and can do the processing. So you only require internet connection and a good computer to do serious processing. Initially one doesn't have to spend lot of money, resources for buying commercial softwares. Now, as I mentioned that DIP using MATLAB also available, lot of videos are also available, lot of help is there, but MATLAB itself is a commercial software. One has to remember this thing. Now, what are the advantages with commercial digital image processing softwares? Of course, the full support. That is the biggest advantage. Whenever you are struck, you want to do some advanced kind of processing which you are not able to maneuver it, you are not finding proper menus, you can ask support from them. If there are bugs, you can report, and hopefully they will be able to resolve your issues. So that is the advantage, one of the biggest advantages with these commercial softwares. Also, updating is very good with commercial softwares. Every 6 months or 1 year, a new updates will come, which is an improved version of the softwares. Bugs which have been reported by users must have been removed, plus new things might have been added, and so on and so forth. So definitely there are advantages, but since it sometimes it costs money, like example of very famous digital image processing software for satellite data is ERDAS, ERDAS, which is a very popular, very robust kind of software is there for digital image processing of satellite data. This is again commercial. Then another one is ENVI software, which is again very good for digital image processing of satellite data. MATLAB I have already mentioned. So the original MATLAB one has to have the other things, the functions of MATLAB can be downloaded from elsewhere. Again, this is not exhaustive list, and the purpose of this is not to promote any commercial softwares either. It is just to give an examples, the one which are available or which are popular among commercial DIP softwares. What are the disadvantages? Of course, the cost. Cost is the biggest disadvantage with these softwares. Sometimes also it is possible that you may get a free old version of commercial softwares. So one can take advantage of that, but of course not pirated one, but sometimes company releases very old version of software, maybe based on XP or maybe on Windows 2000. The same ADAS may be available free of cost. So that may be downloaded. Still you can do lot of work, and it will also allow you to do georeferencing, classification and all kinds of digital image processing. So if someone doesn't have much money to spend on commercial softwares, then this is one of the ways to achieve that. And this ADAS software has been moving from one company to another. Now in between it was with Leica, now it is from with the Hexagon, and in India it is being promoted by other companies. And so this is as mentioned in this advertisement, is the world class remote sensing software. All kinds of processing tools are available, and the graphic user interface, that is GUI, is also quite good. So one can achieve very good results with this, but of course it is costly. So very powerful, very user friendly and capable to perform almost all kinds, various kinds of well known digital image processing and satellite data sets. And some of these softwares also support your own programming or modeling which you can do. So if you are having a task which has to be executed multiple times for various images, then these things can be done through modeling or simple programming or macro languages, and those tasks can be achieved very easily rather than doing everything manually. Now another software which I have mentioned, the NV, which is suite of products, and now in India it is being promoted by ESRI, which also supplies ArcGIS, which is GIS software. NV is equally good digital image processing software for satellite images, and one can think also NV is having LIDAR modules as well. If somebody is going for commercial softwares, if they are having some organizations or institutes, they are having funds to buy commercial softwares, then always look from 2-3 angles before you decide which software. The first one is, what is the user base world over of that software? Whether NV is being maximum used or by ADAS. This can be one of the criteria of deciding which software. And second one is whether software is in modular form or not. Here modular means here that today I am having say 5 lakh rupees, I would buy some basic things of a particular software. Tomorrow I am having another 2 lakh rupees, I will buy few more modules, add-on modules with that software. So that thing should also be checked, whether it is a modular software or in one go everything has to be bought. Because that is the advantage with modular, that as money comes you can keep adding new capabilities in your existing or basic installation. And third one is the discussion groups. If those commercial softwares also support discussion groups, then these discussion groups are very useful to pose our own problems and get the solutions from others. Those who are working in the same field might have encountered the problems, and they might be having solutions. Of course, this is on reciprocal basis. So if you join these discussion groups and sometimes you see a question, you know the answer, you know the processing steps, you also help the community. So in that way, these 3-4 criteria, if one follow, then one can make a better decision about which digital image software to get for his own organization. NB, as I have said, also equally powerful, capable of perform almost all kinds of well-known digital image processing tasks, steps, on satellite data. MATLAB very popular for various kinds of data processing, including your digital image processing. Of course, it may not be as user friendly as DAS or NB, but there are limitations, but there are merits with that one also. So again, very powerful and capable to perform all kinds of well-known digital image processing steps, but may not be very not with ease as compared to more popular dedicated digital image processing software, because MATLAB is processing for various data, the statistical analysis, all kinds of things MATLAB is there. But DAS, NB and other softwares are dedicated for image processing of satellite data. What are the important points here? Some of them we have already discussed, but anyway, just for completeness I will be going, and also in many times you might see that in the slides things come later, I speak before that. The reason is because I want to have a complete information along with the slides as well. So sometimes slides have to carry that information also. There might be sometimes repetition, but it is for completeness, and we keep this information so that whoever is watching these lectures or videos should have all information. So commercial software require large hard disk space and RAM. That is another sometimes disadvantage. Suppose if you install ADAS, it will require large hard disk space, and when you launch this software, it will consume your RAM very significantly, because these are very powerful, very dedicated digital image processing softwares of satellite data, and therefore one has to have a very good workstation or a high-end laptop or desktop to perform serious tasks on satellite data. And a user normally uses about only 25 to, this is rough estimates of uses, 25 to 40% of the capabilities of such software. That means that not all the menus or all the capabilities of individual softwares which you have installed will be used by you, because these are a sort of general purpose satellite remote sensing data processing softwares. So suppose if I am working in civil engineering domain, then I will be using those tools, those routines, functions, extensions of that particular installed software which are suitable for my purposes. I may not be using other capabilities of the same software which have been installed. So generally the users, there you will find rare users who are using all the capabilities of individual software. So that is why they say rough estimate is between 25 to 40% maximum we use the capabilities. But that does not mean that this software will be used only by me. It may be used by others, maybe having background of earth sciences, maybe having background of agriculture, then they will use the other capabilities of the software. May not be the same capabilities as a civil engineer will be using. So that is, I will give you example from IIT Roorkee. Like for example, for a DAS software, we are having 30 perpetual license installations through a license server. Now at a time, any 30 people of the campus, student, faculty, research scholars can use that software, and it is being used by students of various departments, maybe civil engineering, maybe earth sciences, maybe hydrology, maybe earthquake engineering, maybe water resources engineering. So people from different background for different purposes are using the same software, but maybe of different capabilities. So some basic capabilities will be used by all these users, and some dedicated or special capabilities, particular capabilities will be used by different users. So that is why this average figure is 25 to 40% usage is there. It is very difficult to say which one is the best. If you ask me or any expert that I am interested to buy or get one installation for my organization, so kindly suggest me which one is the best software. I have already discussed the criteria, and that if you follow those criteria, then you would be able to make a good decision. So it basically it depends on the purpose a software is going to be used. If you are definitely going to use for most of the time for satellite data processing, then one should go for dedicated satellite image processing softwares rather than MATLAB. But if MATLAB is already there in your organization or your institute, then one must explore the functions of MATLAB which is already installed. In our, again, if I take example of IIT Roorkee is also having MATLAB, which is extensively used by various background people. So if you see the net and the questions which people raise, what are the best softwares for data analysis in remote sensing? Sometimes you may get some biased opinion, because these are after all individual opinions, or companies might be answering these through individuals, they might be promoting, so one should not be carried away by these comments, but they may be little helpful. And like Beam, somebody has said Beam open source toolbox is very good. And there are some other like Snap, as I told you, for SAR interferometry, especially of the Sentinel data. Snap is very good. NV, ADAS, Geomatica, ArcGIS. Of course, ArcGIS is a GIS software, not fully a digital image processing software, but basic kind of image processing can also be done in ArcGIS. So there are INFP, which is a Brazilian space agency software. So there are many such softwares are available. The criteria I have already discussed with you. So if you are going to buy, think about those criteria, analyze your requirements, analyze the purpose for what you are going to use, and accordingly you must choose, make decision for a appropriate software. One can definitely start, as said in the beginning, one can start if one is really beginner in the digital image processing of satellite data. One should start with first with the DIPS, and that is digital image processing simulator, learn the different steps and how in the background the digital image processing is done, because in that particular software you see the numbers, the pixel values. So therefore you can understand in a much easier way than using commercial softwares. Commercial softwares sometimes can be turned out to a black box. You don't see how processing is done, you just see the results. But these softwares will let you know how processing has been done, how the pixel values are being changed if I take a particular processing step. So that is another advantage. And once you are through with the DIPS, then you may go for some open source software. Still, if open source softwares are not sufficient to fulfill your requirements for digital image processing of satellite data, then, and if you are having resources, then you can choose commercial softwares and digital image processing softwares following those 3-4 criteria. So this brings to end of this brief discussion about the digital image processing software. Thank you very much.